very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Miyuki Portia, along with our sign language interpreter, Farka Gabriel via Zoom. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Experienced in several areas of the island. Landslide and flood warnings issued. Citizens in the western province continue to be given the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine. Approval granted to inoculate those above 60 years. Government sets dates to debate the Port City Bill in Parliament, despite heavy resistance from the opposition. Organised criminal Kosgoda Taraka shot dead by police. Why has the police failed to ensure the safety of those in their custody? Bar Association questions.
Heavy showers were experienced in Sri Lanka throughout the course of the day. We're now joined by News First's Charlene Benedict for the latest weather update. Over to you, Charlene.
Thank you, Portia. Now, the Met Department predicts heavy showers exceeding 200 millimeters in certain areas of the country. Now, these areas have been specified within the southern, western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces. The highest rainfall during the period between 8:30 this morning and 4:30 p.m. today was recorded from Hiniduma, and that is in the Galle district. Now, the rainfall that was recorded in this area stood at 190 millimeters. And also according to the Met Department statistics, Horana in the Kaluthara district received a rainfall of 160 millimeters, and also Valallavita, also from the Kaluthara district, received a rainfall of 154 millimeters. We spoke to the Director General of the Department of Meteorology for an analysis on the current inclement weather that has affected Sri Lanka, and this is what he had to say.
This disturbance seems to be moving away from the island during the coming days. This has converted itself into a low pressure zone and is moving away from the island, so we are expecting an increase in rainfall as an indirect effect of this disturbance. However, we expect a gradual reduction in the rainfall from the 15th.
Now, with the heavy rains that were experienced in Sri Lanka, certain areas in the country suffered floods. Now, the Department of Irrigation said that the water levels of the Kukule Ganga and the Kuda Ganga reservoirs have increased by a considerable amount. The department added that this has caused floods in a number of areas, including Bulletin, Palindanuwara, Millania and Horana. Now, the general public have been advised to be cautious of floods, especially in these areas. The Disaster Management Centre said that water levels of the Nilvala, Gin and Kalu rivers have also increased.
The Mirigama-Devulapitiya road was inundated by 4 feet of flood water. This resulted in a heavy traffic congestion in the area. Meanwhile, many low-lying areas in the Galle district were inundated following heavy rains. According to our correspondent, many paddylands and low-lying areas in Danduwana, Habaragala and Alapahala were flooded. Flow of traffic along the school lane in Danduwana, Imaduwa was disrupted. The area between the 99th and the 101st kilometer marker along the southern expressway was flooded. Meanwhile, with heavy rainfall in Udagama Galle, the Ging River overflowed and inundated many low-lying areas and roads in Udagama.
Also, the National Building Research Organization has issued landslide warnings to several areas in the Galle district, which was one of the areas that was severely affected by the heavy rains that hit Sri Lanka today.
The National Building Research Organisation issued landslide warnings to Bulat Sinhala, Palindanuwara, Agalawatta, Valallavita, Ingiriya, Matugama and Dodangoda divisional secretariats in the Kaluthara district. Landslide warnings were issued to Niyagama, Alpitiya, Nagoda, Neluwa Baddegama, Tawalama, Yakkalamulla in the Galle district.
rain is expecting more than 100 millimeters still by the Met Department in in Galle and especially southern province and the western and the central and the northwestern province as well. The gates been open in the Kukuleganga and the Udawalava. So at the people who are living at the downstreams has to be well observed and well vigilant with that particular situation. So a 117 call center number is completely open for, and all the district disaster management units in standby and such rescue teams and all being standby for the moment.
The Department of Fisheries said that due to the current inclement weather that has affected the country, no multi-day fishing vessels will be allowed to set sail from the Beruwala, Dikkovita, Kalpitiya and Mailadi fisheries harbours. Now continue to stay tuned to News First as we keep you up to date on the weather that has affected Sri Lanka, the inclement weather that has affected Sri Lanka. It's back to you, Portia, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Charlan. With that, we toss over to a short commercial break. To stay with News First, we will be right back.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to the news. The Sri Lanka Air Force has developed a set of heated purified oxygen therapy equipment for patients with respiratory ailments during the COVID-19 pandemic. They were officially handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday.
The functionality of this device was demonstrated to the President at the Presidential Secretariat. Although the production of this device is estimated to cost 1.5 million rupees, the Air Force has been able to manufacture this device at a cost of 300,000 rupees. The Sri Lanka Air Force has planned to manufacture 50 of these kits, and they will continue to be manufactured as required by the health sector. The equipment manufacturers, following a concept put forward by Vidya Jyoti Dr. Bandula Vijay, was manufactured with the contributions of Professor Ranil De Silva and Dr. Tilanka Ratnapala. These heated purified oxygen therapy equipment are manufactured by the Air Force Engineering Corps with the approval of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority of Sri Lanka as well as the University of Moratuwa with the necessary electrical safety standards.
13th May 2021. Who will be permitted to travel when travel restrictions come into effect? Will people over the age of 60 receive the vaccine? What are the areas that were newly placed under isolation?
Travel restrictions will come into effect across the island from 11 p.m. today, the 13th of May, till 4 a.m. on Monday, the 17th of May. Only those providing essential services will be permitted to travel during this time period.
How will travel restrictions apply?
Travel across the island will be suspended from 11 p.m. today until 4 a.m. on Monday. Travel across the island will also be banned between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. each day starting from Monday until the 31st of May. Travel across provinces will also be banned during this time period. The public can travel within the Western Province to receive their vaccines tomorrow, on Saturday and Sunday. The following categories of service providers have been exempted from travel restrictions: health services, police and tri-forces, essential tours of state sector employees, distributors of essential goods, those providing essential services, people traveling to attend a funeral of a close relative under the condition that it must be proven, and a person journeying to travel overseas or a person who returned from overseas, and those providing import and export services. What will happen over the next 3 days? Everyone must remain indoors. Shops cannot open during this time period either. Only pharmacies can remain open. Vehicular movement will also be prohibited. Taxis cannot be hailed either. However, if there is a health emergency, they can travel to a hospital in their own vehicle or a taxi. Further, health workers, tri-forces and other essential service providers can move around. No one, apart from essential workers, can travel around either by using their ID number process or by claiming that they are traveling to work. Remember all these details. From Monday onwards, travel restrictions will be imposed for a period of 5 hours every day from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. Anyone apart from those travelling to their workplaces must use the ID digit system to travel around in daytime.
හැඳුනුම්පත් අංකානුව පමණයි රැකියාවට නොයන අයට සැරිසරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ.
What are the areas that were placed under isolation today?
In the Gampaha district, the 91B Palugasweva Gramanilladari division in the Dulapitiya police jurisdiction. In the Gaul district, 161A Karadungoda Gramanilladari division, 156A Goviapana Gramanilladari division, 164A Kahavannagama Gramanilladari division and 160A Dommangoda Gramanilladari division in the Ahangama police jurisdiction, 137C Bonavista Gramanilladari division and 144C Katakurunda Gramanilladari division in the Habradua police jurisdiction. In the Ratnapura district, 171 Denavaka Pathakada Gramanilladari division, 172C Dippitigala Gramanilladari division in the Palmadulla police jurisdiction and 155 Kuruvita Gramanilladari division and the urban area of the Delgamur Gramanilladari division in the Kuruvita police jurisdiction.
What are the areas that were released from isolation today?
In the Colombo district, the Ugala Gramanilladari division in the Paduka police jurisdiction. In the Ampara district, the Dehiyattakandia Gramanilladari division in the Dehiyattakandia police jurisdiction. In the Nuwara district, the Gonagalla section of the Fordswatta Gramanilladari division and the 30-acre area of the Fordswatta Gramanilladari division in the Hatton police jurisdiction were released from isolation today.
What is the progress of the vaccination drive?
Administering the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine among those in the western province is being conducted expeditiously at present. Large crowds had gathered at vaccination centres despite rainfall. An inoculation drive was being carried out at the Sri Jayawardhanapura hospital this morning. Area residents were seen queuing up opposite the hospital to obtain the vaccine. Another inoculation program was carried out at the PD Sirisena Stadium in Maligavatta under police protection.
There is a risk of the virus spreading from these areas, so please always wear a face mask. Do not exchange various items. Please ensure your own safety.
However, certain people were not inoculated since authorities had run out of vaccine doses.
I applied for leave and came here today to receive the jab because I was asked to do so. When we were about to be inoculated, they said that they had only 300 doses and they had run out. They asked us to return tomorrow.
The Sinopharm vaccine was administered at the Kottawa Dharmapala Vidyalaya with the assistance of the army.
දැන් 12 20 වෙලා කැමුවක් නැහැ කන්න වෙලා ඔක්කොම නැහැ අපිට බෝලින් පැන්නොත් ඒක බෝලින් ඉන්න නැති වෙනවා ඊළඟ
900 people falling under the purview of the Habaragahalanda Gramanilladari division under the area of the Vadua Medical Officer of Health were vaccinated with the Sinopharm vaccine today at the Sri Sugata Bimbarama Viharasthana in Valigama, Vadua. Although it was decided to administer the vaccine to employees attached to state institutions in Kaluthara today, a large crowd had gathered at the vaccination centre. A hectic situation ensued at the Kaluthara town hall as a result.
මේකේ කිසි පිළිවෙලක් නැහැ. මම කියන්නේ ආයතනයක් බේත් විදිනව නම් ඒ ආයතන ඉවර කරලා යම්කිසි කාල සීමාවක් දෙන්න ඕන. ඒකට ඒ කාල සීමාවෙන් එහා ආයේ ඒ ආයතනෙට විදින්න බෑ. දැන් මෙතන එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ PHI මාතුන්ට හරි බෙහෙත් විදින අයට හරි සෞඛ්‍යාංශයට කළ නොහැකි ධාරිතාවයක් ගෙන්නන්න එපා කියන එකයි අපි කියන්නේ.
පොලිම වැඩි. ඔව්. ප්‍රමාණය බෙහෙත් ප්‍රමාණයට වැඩි ඉසනකින් නැහැ මෙතන. වෙලාදී නැහැ.
While authorities had planned to inoculate 830 people today, a much larger crowd had gathered at the town hall, resulting in the commotion. Residents of Dehiwala were administered with the Sinopharm vaccine at the SDS Jaisingha Hall earlier today. An inoculation drive was also conducted at the Chandrasekhara Ramaya in Maharagama today. Separate areas had been allocated for workers of the Maharagama Urban Council, state employees and the general public to be inoculated at this location.
වතුරක බීලා දැන් තමයි ඇතුළට යන්නේ. දැන් වෙලාව කීයද? කීයද වෙලාව? 10 12 11යි. ඉතින් බලන්න අපි උතන බලා ඉන්නවා මෙතන මේ මීටර 50ක් නෑ අපි ගියා මෑ දෙකක් තුනක් යන්න. දැන් මෙතන රජයේ නිලධාරී කිය එනවා. ඔයා කියන්නේ නිලධාරීගේ ගෙදර චූම්පාන් කාර්යාලයයි ටීවී එළවන ඔක්කොමට මාළු කාර්යාලයේ ඉඳන් නිලධාරීන්ද මෙතන ඉන්නේ.
Will those above 60 years of age receive the jab? Today we decided at the task force meeting to administer the Sinopharm vaccine to people who are above 60 years of age if they don't have any other health complications. Currently we have 600,000 vaccines and we are expecting to receive more in the future.
While the discourse on the spread of the COVID-19 virus in the country continues to widen, a multitude of views are expressed regarding the sudden departure of Basil Rajapaksa, who holds the position of chairman of 3 presidential task forces, including the task force on economic revival. Factions aligned with the government expressed these views today.
If something happens to me, wouldn't I go to hospital? Will I forego my work? No, I would not. So just because he left, there is no impediment to the work that he did. Our state ministers are doing that job even better now. So do not be afraid.
He flew overseas for personal reasons. That is not something unusual. He hopes to return to Sri Lanka in 3 weeks. He didn't have any medical condition to seek treatment for. Even when I met him yesterday, he didn't have any illness. He left the island for a personal reason. Everyone has personal matters in their lives. We should not meddle with those matters.
His son became a father. He too has a liking to see his grandchildren. As people, we must give an opportunity to him to attend these matters. He did not travel there in a long time. We must allow him to engage in his personal matters.
He too will have to dedicate some time for matters such as seeking medical treatment. That does not mean that he is completely detaching himself from other matters.
Opposition politicians and activists expressed these views about the departure of Basil Rajapaksa.
Political analysts point out that he left because the situation is a mess. But ordinary people say that whenever the country is in crisis, these people abandon the country and leave. Another group of people are saying that Basil Rajapaksa went home. So let's follow his lead and stay at home because the pandemic is so serious. We would like to request the government to act more responsibly when dealing with the lives of the people.
When the country faces a crisis and the people are in trouble, they pack their things and go home. He goes back to his old country. When people were dying in India due to the lack of oxygen, the rich people in India packed their bags and left to various other countries. Basil Rajapaksa is doing the same thing.
රාජපක්ෂ පවුලේ ප්‍රබලයන් දෙදෙනෙක් තමන්ගේ රට වෙච්ච ඇමරිකාවට ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපිට කියනවා බැසිල් නම් වූ විශාල මිනිසා කියලා.
They said that Basil Rajapaksa is this great man and we need Basil to face this pandemic and we need Basil to fix the economy and we need Basil to build 10,000 beds. That same Basil has now fled to his country in the United States in secret.
ඒ බැසිල් හොරෙන්ම ඇමරිකාවට තමන්ගේ රටට ගියා තමන්ගේ ගෙදරට ගියා.
ඇත්ත
Is this the example set by our leaders? They need to have the strength and the courage to stay in the country and face whatever challenges that come. If he went to seek medical treatment, are there no doctors in Sri Lanka? He has expressed his lack of confidence in the Sri Lankan health sector. He is the head of the Presidential Task Force to combat COVID-19. The newest tactic of the government is to blame the public. The public lacks discipline. The public do not abide by the guidelines. But shouldn't the government set an example first? Now they have imposed travel restrictions, but the head of the COVID-19 task force has left the country.
The head of the three crucial presidential task forces leaving the country at a time when his services are needed the most is unacceptable. We point out that if dual citizens are allowed to take decisions on behalf of the people under the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, the country will face a risk of uncertainty. Many people disregarded this warning due to the lack of understanding. Did Basil Rajapaksa leave the country in fear that he will be held responsible for the corpses that will pile up in Sri Lanka? The entire constitution of the country was changed for the needs of a single person. If this person continues to act like this, people will spit on them. A Chinese delegation led by the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kui Zhenghong, called on Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today. The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka in a tweet said, quote, China firmly stands by Sri Lankan people and supports the island fighting against a new wave of COVID-19, end quote. Matters concerning the supply of more Sinopharm doses, oxygen, personal protective equipment and initiating the co-production of the vaccine in Sri Lanka were discussed during the meeting. A special book comprising of 3 volumes of speeches and articles published by President Xi Jinping on Chinese administration was also presented to the Prime Minister by the Chinese ambassador during the meeting.
The government has decided to schedule the debate on the Port City Economic Commission Bill on the 19th and 20th of May, despite heavy resistance raised against it at the party leaders' meeting today. The party leaders' meeting was chaired by the Speaker this evening.
The Parliament must continue to function. The economy of the country must be strengthened. If we hide behind COVID, where will the country be in the future? So ministers should face this fearlessly and make decisions for the people. How can the country function when the Parliament has closed down?
Not
only the Port City Bill, all other acts should be passed as well. We are not a dormant government.
Sajid Premadasa made a recommendation to postpone this by a week and to only convene Parliament if there is anything relating to COVID-19. However, the government said that they place equal importance on the Port City Economic Commission Bill as it is vital for the economy. They vehemently opposed the postponement. We were against it. This verdict of the Supreme Court will be read out on Tuesday, but amidst all this chaos concerning COVID-19, it will be debated on Wednesday and Thursday. That is their most pressing issue. Let us see what will happen.
This act depicts a preferential loyalty towards China. It would have damning ramifications on our country. If an act of such magnitude is to be passed, a broad discourse must be created within society regarding it. We pointed out that it is insufficient to only debate this on 2 days. However, the government did not heed our calls in typical fashion. This is in no way a democratic decision which respects the mandate of the people. The government is attempting to pass a destructive act while people are in fear of death. We expressed our opposition against the government's undemocratic act at the party leaders' meeting. We asked the discerning people of the land, if a decision is to be reached which would bear a serious impact on our nation and future generations of the country, does it not require your voice and your opinion? Therefore, we should defeat this destructive act which would undermine the mandate and the sovereignty of the people. While dates are set to debate the Port City Bill, farmers in the island are in a state of limbo due to the lack of fertilizer and agrochemicals. It has been more than a month since paddy fields in the Magalla scheme in Nikavaratiya Kurunagala were cultivated. Paddy fields are decaying since fertilizer had not been added to the fields on time. What are we to do? Fell trees? We are helpless as a result of this. We are wary of this now. They fooled us and got our votes. There is no process now. We have been provided with a liquid fertilizer. We do not trust in the effectiveness of it. We do not believe we can reap a substantial yield from this cultivation.
Nearly 100 acres of paddy lands in Kongahagedara, Ibbagamuwa, Kurunagala are on the brink of destruction. Fertilizer has still not been received for nearly a month.
මේවට මඩ පොහොරක් නැහැ යූරියක් නැහැ කිසි දෙයක් නැහැ කඩේ ගියපුවා කඩේ පොහොර ගන්නත් නැහැ. ඉතින් අපි කොහෙන්ද පොහොර හොයාගන්නේ එතකොට? මේ ඔක්කොම කහ ගහිලා මේ ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
ඕම් පුරවනවා නිතරම ගොවි සමිතිය තියෙනවා. ඒ හැම එකකින්ම අපේ මුදලුත් ගන්නවා. ඒ කිසිම දෙයකින් අපට සහනයක් ලාම ලැබිලා නැහැ. දැන් මේ ගොවිකම
We will have to abandon these lands. If there is a place which sells organic fertilizer approved by the government, tell us and we will purchase it. If not, people will have to purchase rice at 600 to 700 rupees. That is what this will lead to.
Around 15,000 to 20,000 people are engaged in greenhouse farming in Valimada, Uvaparanagama in Badulla. These farmers who have been cultivating after investing heavily on crops are now helpless.
මේක මේ ගහේ දැන් මේ සම්පූර්ණ පණුව ඉන්නේ ෆෝන් මේකෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්නේ අපි
මේ ගෙඩියට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ දිලීර රෝගයක් මයිටයාව ගහලා තියෙන්නේ මේ ලක්ෂ 75ක
We obtained a loan of around 7.5 million rupees. We cannot carry out cultivating without chemical fertilizer. We used organic fertilizer, but it was unsuccessful.
කාබනික පොර අත්හදා බැලුවා සාර්ථකත්වය ලබා ගැනීමට අපහසු වුණා.
Newsfirst reported on the shortage of fertilizer for the farmers of the Yaya 20 and 28 in the Alahara agrarian community in Polonnaruwa. However, pursuant to our revelation on the matter, the farmers in the area had been provided sufficient stocks of fertilizer today.
Following the news report aired by Sirasa the other day, sufficient stocks have been directed to the warehouse.
In more local news, underworld leader Dharmakirti Tharaka Pereira Vijayasekara alias Koskura Tharaka was killed by police fire this morning. Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said the 34-year-old organized criminal was in the custody of the Western Province North Crimes Division and he was escorted to Rendapula in Meerigama police area for a special operation. During the operation, an incident had taken place compelling police to use force to control the situation. Koskura Tharaka, who was injured following the incident, was then admitted to the Meerigama hospital where he was ruled dead upon admission. The DIG further stated that a chief inspector was also injured in the incident and he too was admitted to hospital for treatment.
මෙම කොස්කොඩ තාරක නැමැති සැකකරු ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ විවිධ ප්‍රදේශවල එනම්
Koskoda Tharaka was a key suspect of multiple crimes in Koskoda, Matara, Moratuwa and Kottawa police areas. According to our reports, he was a wanted suspect for 7 murders and 20 thefts. In addition to these, he was also a key suspect of a robbery that took place in a jewelry shop in Matara town in 2018. There, during this robbery, a police officer too was killed when he tried to arrest these robbers.
කොල්ලකා පලායන අවස්ථාවේදී එම කොල්ලකරුවන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීමට ගිය පොලිස් නිලධාරියෙකුට වෙඩි තබා ඝාතනය කිරීමේ සිද්ධියට අදාළව සිටි සැකකරුවෙකු බවටත් වාර්තා වෙනවා.
Urujua, who was said to have been involved in many crimes, including murders, was also killed by police fire the day before yesterday.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has strongly condemned the recent killing of 2 suspects in police custody, namely Melan Mabula, alias Urjua, and Tharaka Pereira Vijayasekara, alias Koskoda Tharaka, which had occurred on 2 consecutive days. The statement signed by President's Counsel Salia Piris, the President of the BASL, and the Secretary of the BASL Rajiv Amarasuriya says these deaths have all the hallmarks of extrajudicial killings and they have called upon the state to ensure the safety and security of persons in their custody. It further adds on the 12th of May 2021, an attorney at law representing Tharaka Pereira Vijayasekara informed the Bar Association of Sri Lanka by email that his client had been suddenly transferred from the custody of the Criminal Investigations Department to a special police unit at Paliagoda and that he fears that his client will be killed in custody. The Bar Association says it is an imperative requirement of criminal justice that persons accused of serious crimes including murder are tried by a court of law and punished for their crimes, and that the networks that aided and abetted such activities are prosecuted and dismantled. According to the statement, this requirement is defeated by the failure of police officers to control the unarmed suspects, purportedly accompanied by them without the use of lethal force. The statement adds that it is incomprehensible how on several occasions the police have been unable to protect unarmed suspects in their custody. The Executive Committee of the Bar Association expressed its grave and serious concern and condemned the failure of the police, including the Inspector General of Police, to protect persons in their custody. The Bar Association called upon His Excellency the President and the government to take serious note of these incidents and to take action to prevent such occurrences in the future. Criminals must be punished, there is no debate there, but the legal procedure must be followed. How do these murders take place outside the legal procedure? Is it to cover up the affiliations these criminals had? Is that the reason why these extrajudicial killings are carried out? Where is the law in this country? The government must be held responsible for all of these murders. Please create a strong legal system in the country. Criminals must be dealt with within the limits of the proper legal procedure. We request the government to stop this killing spree.
Taking a look at some news overseas, an independent high-level panel named the Independent Panel for Pandemic Preparedness and Response, a team of experts assembled by the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus last May to examine the pandemic, has found the COVID-19 pandemic was avoidable if world leaders acted appropriately.
Issuing a report titled COVID-19, Make It the Last Pandemic, shows the panel criticizing global leaders and demanded better action in the future. Former New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, a former president of Liberia, was also part of the panel. The review from IPPR stated that efforts to stop the spread were inconsistent and underfunded. The report also chastises the alert system for being slow and subdued. The panel argued that the WHO's emergency committee should have declared the outbreak in China an international emergency a week earlier than it did, on the 22nd of January, instead of waiting until the 30th of January 2020. The report notes the WHO was then hindered by its own regulations that travel restrictions should be a last resort, adding that Europe and the United States wasted the entire month of February and acted only when their hospitals began to fill up. To prevent another catastrophic pandemic, the report suggests key reforms, including 1. The creation of a new Global Threats Council with the power to hold countries accountable. 2. Introduce a disease surveillance system to publish information without the approval of countries concerned. And 3. Vaccines must be classed as public goods and there should be a pandemic financing facility.
Sinovac Biotech Limited's vaccine is wiping out COVID-19 among health workers in Indonesia, an encouraging sign for the dozens of developing countries reliant on the controversial Chinese shot, which performed far worse than Western vaccines in clinical trials.
Indonesia tracked 128,290 health workers in their capital city of Jakarta from January to March and found that the vaccine protected 98% of them from death and 96% of them from hospitalization as soon as 7 days after the second dose. This was confirmed to foreign media by an Indonesian health ministry official who oversaw the study. He added 94% of the workers had been protected against symptomatic infections, an extraordinary result that goes beyond what was measured in the shot's numerous clinical trials. Indonesia's health minister said a drastic drop in hospitalization and deaths among medical workers was also observed. It is not known what strain of the coronavirus that the Sinovac shot worked against in Indonesia, but the country has not flagged any major outbreaks driven by variants of concern. A spokesperson for Sinovac in Beijing said the company cannot comment on the Indonesian study until it acquires more details.
We'll leave you tonight with more iterations of the remixed version of the Negatimu Sri Lanka theme song. For the News First team, I'm Yuki Poshia. Take care and good night.
Gammadda Nagitimu Sri Lanka. Gammadda Nagitimu Sri Lanka.